and welcome back. We're just about to go into round 7 of the Theros Sheffield standard event. I'm back as a bear, and we have with us Matt Light.
Hello, sports fans.
Matt Light has graciously come in to cover a round with us for the Swiss event.
So I've just got here. I've just arrived. What's going on? Who's leading the Swiss? Do we know?
What
have we had on so far?
We've had Aristocrats has done reasonably okay. We had Red, White, Black, scary things.
Mid-range sort of.
Red, White, Black.
Yeah.
So we had him on. That did well. Bant, we had Ross on last round, beating someone with Bant Jace.
Okay. Turbo Fog.
Getting
there that way.
Turbo Fog Bant, which was good fun. And yeah, so we've had bits
some spectacles.
Like that. Yeah, we've had some nice sort of interactive different.
Do you have a copy of the standings there?
This was the standings as of last round, so that was last round's ones.
Okay, so who have we got at the top? We've not got a lot of the sort of PTQ grinder regulars sitting undefeated at this point,
No, it's been quite surprising that some have sort of differentiated in the standings.
That's really good.
All just sort of walked through it like this.
I think in a tournament this size, you're bound to sort of get new players rising to the top.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get a 200-player PTQ, it obviously means a lot of new people. There's a lot of new blood in the room.
Oh, definitely.
And that's just fantastic for the game.
Yeah, it's been really good to sort of see because it's the biggest British PTQ.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame we couldn't get 2 more players and get the, the 200
we were
mark.
There, come on, 2 more people have just got to go. We were tempted to sign up just so it got to 200.
Yeah,
and then
sign up, drop.
And then drop.
Get the rep up.
Yeah, just so we got the 200, but 198 is not a number to be snuffed at.
I remember the days when the Americans would, these British players with their easy 60, 70 player PTQs, we have 200 players, 150 players, and now it's just not the same.
No,
now we've got to battle all day and perhaps well into the night to get a blue envelope.
It should be really good fun. So
who do we have as our feature match for the next round?
We're not sure yet. It'll eventually come through, and we'll get the deck lists through hopefully relatively soon because I think the pairings have gone up, so it shouldn't be too long. Okay. What do you think of Standard at the moment? What do you think the state of it is at the moment?
Standard's in a really interesting place because I think Standard right now really has its critics. So you get a lot of people that can't find a deck they want to play. They can't. People don't feel like they can nail Standard down now.
Yeah.
But all the decks are doing such wonderful, powerful, for want of a better word, fun things. And because of that, you've got all these players that just desperately want to play their deck at a tournament. And I think that how Standard is right now for the tournament players may not seem like it's great for them and for their version of the game. But I think when you look at the grassroots, people really want to play Standard. They really want to play there. They really want to hit you for 7 on turn 2 with those 3 humans. They really want to reanimate a Crater Hoof and attack you for 78 million. They want to assemble their legions and hit you with 200 haste men. They really want to do all these things. And if they want to counter spells, I mean, those decks are there too. So I think it's in a really great place where it appeals to all of the different players. So if you want to play your huge card draw life gain spell, you can do that. If you want to attack with small guys, you can do that. If you want a combo finish, you can do that. And because all of those decks are out there, there's anyone that goes to tournaments and plays Magic because they like a certain strategy, they like a certain element of the game, those people can't avoid Standard because it's got something there to love. And I think that's a really good thing. Yeah,
it is. It's really quite nice to see a wider variety of decks. You're not just seeing the same 2 or 3 decks every single top event.
The numbers speak for themselves. I mean, when we get these sort of 3-4 deck formats, when we get our Delvers, our Ramp decks, tournament attendance does drop, and that's pretty big. And whereas now we've got these 11 trillion people and just wading through Magic players to get to your table.
It's really good. Have you managed to see a lot of the Dragon Mace spoilers?
I've seen a few. Yeah. Are there any particularly that
do you think that there's going to be a big shift in Standard because of the stuff that you've seen so far, or do you think it's just going to enhance what's already out there at the moment?
I think that you've got some very interesting things that people feel are implying other things. So Putrefy has caused this wild speculation about Electrolyze and Lightning Helix and Mortify. And if those cards do come in, then that's a really big deal. I mean, if Mortify is printed, which people think it might be, being able to kill an enchantment and just unconditionally a creature in this format, because things like Ultimate Price are too narrow against a lot of the multicolored cards, that would really shake things up.
That'd be really cool. I mean, I've seen some of the stuff like things like Obsidat's Aid looks silly. let's have reanimators for permanence. Yeah, that could see some serious.
The thing is there's loads of cards like that one that people are excited about. And I think that's all you want from spoiler season. You just want to get people's blood up, not people. I mean, we've all seen the sort of the Mana Leak forums and like all of these posts and people bitterly arguing the point of like this card will be good, this card will be bad, and that sort of joy and people being able to express that about Magic is just one of the things that Magic gives us that's just so wonderful. That I'm sure you, as I do, and as I imagine at least 150 people in that room will wake up on Monday morning and one of the first things they will do is they will find those Dragon's Maze spoilers.
Yep.
And I've been doing that for nearly 10 years now, and that's amazing. It's amazing that can be that, and this set is really looking good.
Because I mean, I've seen some of the sets before, like Dark Ascension for me was a really boring set. Whenever they kept going spoilers, I was like...
Yeah, I think
there's only like a couple of cards that
things like Huntmaster, but apart from that,
Huntmaster and things you're like, that's so cool. But for the most part, it was a fairly sort of a boring set of spoilers to go through before it got released. And then you look at the stuff that's coming out in like Dragon's Maze, and when they had like Gatecrash and stuff, you're in there going, "Oh, this looks so much cool. We can do this, and this, and this."
The thing is, multicolored cards, just by their definition, are very much cooler than.
They very much are. So it should be. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Dragon's Maze pans out, and it should be sort of.
It looks like it'll be exciting. I mean, the pre-releases will be a lot of fun. I mean, the Ravnica and the Gatecrash ones have been fantastic. So
yeah, it's really sort of shaping up. I think Standard's going to be sort of quite an interesting, exciting kind of concept. And I think we've just got some people sitting down for our game.
Oh, one of them appears to be there on time.
You always get one, don't you? Oh no, the other one looks like they're on there on time. So hopefully, relatively shortly, we should get some deck lists to see what they're playing.
Oh, that'd be great.
I believe these people are X and 1, so they'll be 5 and 1.
So they're playing with their last lives then.
Yeah. So this is like a make or break sort of game for both of these players.
X and 2's just not good enough.
So they have to win. We've got Reva, Hodgkinson, and somebody else. We've got someone just working off a list.
Someone I recognise. I've definitely played him before.
In fairness, most of the people... I've played that guy before as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I played him on my first ever modern event.
Come on, Ginger Standings Monkey.
Have we got someone here? And Harry Garbett. Is that who we've got?
So Harry versus Reva.
So we'll put the stream up so you can see them as well. So you don't have to look at us anymore. So we've got our 2 players. So like I said, these are both 5 and 1. So these are pretty much do or die with their games this time. So we've now got deck lists.
Okay. Do you want to go through them one each?
We have Reva there, and we have Liam on the other one.
Okay, so we've got Reva's playing what looks to be just the very standard Naya mid-range deck. So her creature suite is Boros Reckoners, Loxodon Smiters, Restoration Angels, Huntmaster of the Fells, all of those in 4-ofs, 3 Thragtusks, 1 Sigarda and 1 Thundermaw Hellkite. Very interesting. She doesn't have, she won't be having the Aurelia's main to really top out her curve, so we won't see any...
the other deck is
very grindy, just removal and guys. It'll be an interesting game.
Yeah, he's called it Fat 5. It's got 4 Reckoners, 4 Smiters, 4 Pilgrims, 4 Huntmasters, 4 Restos, 4 Tusks, 4 Call of the Conclave.
Very interesting.
Interesting there. There is creatures essentially. So he's just going to go around stomping.
We've got very similar deck lists here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just shuffling up at the moment, so I think it'd be interesting to look at the differences. I mean, interesting thing about Reva's deck list is that she has Farseeks and Pilgrims as her ramp spells, whereas it looks like Harry isn't playing Farseek, but he has 3 Arbor Elves and 4 Pilgrims.
He has the mini guys to
very, very interesting, because it means... How many... Is he playing Mizian Mortars?
He is playing Mizian.
He's got 1 more Mizian Mortars main, which is a very key card in the matchup. Yes. We've got Kessig Wolf Runs as the utility land of choice.
And this has Reva. Township.
That's very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this matchup goes.
It's a choice between 2 very similar decks with slight enough differences to make them unique.
Definitely.
So it should be a very interesting matchup between the two of them, I think.
It doesn't look like Harry has anything to really top the curve. I mean, he tops out at Thragtusk.
Yeah.
Whereas Reva has Sigardas and Thundermaw Hellkites. So we could well see a couple of games where she just goes over the top.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot he can do about it.
He's not really got much of an answer to...
Ooh, sorry, just something I noticed there. We don't see any Bonfire of the Damns for Harry.
No, we don't.
I think, looking at these lists, Reva's definitely favoured. She's got Bonfires and he's got Mana Elves. I mean, there's not really much more to it than that.
Call of the Conclave is a weird one.
Yeah, I don't want to criticise, but I think it's interesting to question the decision of having the 2-drop in the deck with 7 1-drop accelerants. Because presumably he wants to be jumping into his Reckoners and his Smiters, but presumably he just thought that that's not enough, so he wants to have something just in case he doesn't have those.
Yeah.
You don't want to just be starting the game at 3. So it gives him 10 things to ensure that he has a 3/3 creature on turn 2.
So for those who've just sort of got in, it is Naya with Reva, and Harry is running essentially Naya as well. They're both running Naya midrange in essence.
Yeah.
So Naya midrange for both players, and they've got the ever so slight difference in that Reva's is using Wolfrun predominantly.
Yep.
And Harry's is using Gavany. So it's those slight differences. A couple of slight differences between creatures and stuff. Yeah, that's a good setup of it. Harry's playing random large Naya creatures. Reva is playing slightly bigger Naya creatures and bonfires. that sums it up reasonably well, I think.
I don't know.
I'd hardly say random.
I think that's Stephen Murray, isn't it? I don't know Stephen Murray. I think that the Naya creatures might be quite specific.
They're not random. They're picked well.
They want to be making their Reckoners and their Smiters and reckoning and smiting.
Yeah, they're very well picked big creatures. They're just not as big as some of Reva's creatures.
I mean, I think that on paper, Reva is definitely favoured.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think.
But things while she's favoured, it's still functionally a mirror. So you have to be very aware that because they have sort of 85% the same cards, if they both see the same sort of collection of the 85s, and perhaps he just draws slightly better out of it, he's definitely got a chance.
Oh yeah, I think both have that chance of doing well, and it's like you said, most of the decks are fairly similar in their design, so it's just going to be a case of who gets their unique set first in order to sort of take the advantage. So it should be interesting. I think
they. One thing we do see though is we see the dynamic changing a lot after sideboard. So post board we see that Harry has 3 Angel of Serenities. He's gone for the classic 3/3/3/3 sideboard.
All the 3s.
Yeah, and I think he has Charms and Angels post board, possibly even the Sentinel hits. I'd be very interested to see if he brings those in. Whereas Reva just has a Sigarda and a Garruk and Selesnya Charms. So perhaps as well as conscripts, I think you probably bring that in.
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to see who's favoured, who wins game 1, who wins game 2, and then where that leaves game 3, because he seems to be outgunning her slightly post-board. However, the fact that she has Bonfire and can clear away his accelerants like that may well just mean that Angel's not relevant.
So we've started off, they've both played Temple Gardens. Harry's on the play.
So what we were discussing about Harry's deck having 10 ways of making sure he has a 3 power or better creature on turn 2, it's not quite worked out.
No, not quite.
But slow starts from both of them, very interesting. I mean, neither of them have done anything on turn 1 or 2, which presumably means that both of their hands are full of the fatter, more aggressive creatures.
It's a Smiter. Harry's striking first with the creature.
I mean, we're definitely going to see a Smiter or a Reckoner here. There's no way she keeps the hand without one, I imagine.
There's got to be a very decent turn to play, and it is
a Reckoner. So very easy for. I think Harry's going to propose the trade here. Yeah, proposes the trade.
Yeah.
I mean, this will show us a lot about the quality of her hand. Because if she has a Thragtusk, it's very unlikely that she blocks. Okay, that block and trade shows that she presumably doesn't have a Thragtusk that she believes can just get her back into the game, because Thragtusk tangles with...
And that is a Huntmaster of the Fells coming in.
So Harry goes to 22, gets a wolf. So we see, I think that was a draw of Sacred Foundry.
Yeah, looks like she's got the land to play extra, but she's going to go drop a Smiter of her own.
Yeah, so she's got the backup Smiter. Interesting because it's quite good here. I mean, it brick walls Harry's attacks.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to be attacking a random 2/22. So he makes another Huntmaster. I mean, that puts him pretty far ahead. His option to next turn just pass the turn, killing the Smiter and dealing 4 is pretty big game.
Yeah.
However, an untapped Miracle Bonfire.
Well, even a land and a Bonfire in a hand does 2 damage enough to wipe the field for her.
That's true. That's very powerful.
So she's still in a reasonably good position.
Oh, definitely. There's so many cards that, like Mortars and like Bonfire, that just swing the matchup in a single turn.
And in fairness, she's going to probably play something. So if Harry wants
We've got a Reckoner at the front of her hand. Interested to see if that's just what she casts. So she just has a very 3-drop heavy draw.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing we see here is that Harry's using his mana a lot more efficiently. So on turn 4, Reva had a wasted mana. On turn 5, she had a wasted mana, or 2 wasted mana. Whereas Harry's just gone tap land on 1, tap land on 2, 3, use it all, 4, use it all, 5, use it all with a tap land.
I think that's just because his
draw's worked out that way, yeah.
Done well. So the Huntmasters will kill the Smiter.
Be very interested to see if that's just good game. I mean, without a Bonfire or a Mortars, she's really going to struggle.
Oh!
And
that is phenomenal.
And we'd like to apologise to all the people viewing online, because we know that you hate to see that.
Wow, that is...
Yes, Ben Heath.
Just ridiculous. Skill game. Yep, totally skill. She knew full well that there was a top decking Bonfire there.
She got the time walk out of it so that he'd... The thing is, that Bonfire, while it was very good board-wise, was still her trading a Smiter and a Bonfire for 2 Huntmasters. So Harry gained 4, she lost 4, which actually puts him still quite far up.
Yeah.
Oh, a Huntmaster there that hadn't been flipped back from last game.
He asked if you could reveal the Bonfire, then play a land, and then cast it. You have to cast it at the time it's revealed, so you can't play the land in the
It triggers in your draw step, CFX, so that's when you have to cast it.
That'd be so much better if you could reveal a miracle and then you had the turn to play it.
We had a very interesting play in testing earlier in the week, which was someone Miracle Determinus, while someone had a Bloodthrone Vampire and a couple of Black Cats in play. The Black Cat's trigger is when it dies, your opponent discards a card at random.
Yeah.
So the miracle is drawn, and then the trigger goes on the stack. At which point you sacrifice your cat, which makes them discard it, which means they can't actually resolve their trigger because the miracle's gone.
It's like the Desperate Ravens, isn't it? Where you discard a card and
exactly
you can't discard the miracle card.
Oh, we appear to have frozen a little bit there.
I think our thing was frozen. Just a second.
We'll get back in. Hopefully we won't have missed any miracles. Okay, so we've got a Huntmaster of our own.
A Huntmaster which is flipped.
Okay.
On both sides. There's 2 Huntmasters now.
So she's made Huntmaster.
And so is he.
Yeah, so she's made Huntmaster possible. I'm not entirely sure why her lands are tapped, if that Huntmaster's been played recently. Oh, okay, I think what's happening is what's being explained now is, which I'm sure a lot of people will, who are watching already know, it's whose trigger will go on the stack and resolve first. So Harry made his Huntmaster, then Reva made hers, who passed the turn back, and then Harry passed the turn back to Reva. And what happens is because Reva's the active player, she has to stack her triggers first, which means her trigger goes on the stack first, and then his goes on the stack on top of it, which means his transforms into Huntmaster first, which then deals transforms into Ravager of the Fells first, which then deals 2 damage to her Huntmaster before it flips. So basically he gets to kill her Huntmaster and her Huntmaster never flips and resolves. So a very, very powerful, very smart play by Harry, which I imagine Reva either had no way of playing round or didn't see.
Yeah. It's.
I mean, we also now see Township in play for Harry, so he can afford, because he has the Township, he can afford to pass the turn, leaving because he can still use his mana for the Township. It's like casting a spell that doesn't flip your Huntmaster.
It's a very good position for Harry at the moment.
Very much so.
Very solid field position. Though neither of them, so ironically, Harry doesn't have any land sort of searches like Farseek or anything, and has more lands than the deck that's running the Farseeks.
Yeah, I mean, none of them have played any sort of accelerant, which is very interesting. Harry's going to take that 3 damage all day long.
Every time.
He just wants to start beating down with that Trampler, which will be a 5/5.
Well, it's going to, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Unless
it's very interesting there. I mean, I think it may well have been correct to pump the Wolf and then block with the 3/3 Wolf. Because at that point she can deal 3 damage to something, but that's not enough to kill the Ravager of the Fells.
No.
But he obviously thinks that beating down's his way to win the game. It does leave him open a lot to a Restoration Angel play though now.
True.
If Reva's holding Restoration Angel, blinking the she can blink the Reckoner and put the Reckoner in front of the Ravager of the Fells, and the Wolf and her Angel in front of the token to kill both of Harry's creatures.
Yeah.
And leave her with just a Wolf. I'm not sure if the correct play is just the Reckoner block, but very interesting that she's basically telegraphing Restoration Angel now. I mean, if she has any cards in hand, they're either lands or Restoration Angel, or possibly a Mizium Mortars.
True.
But Mizium Mortars is fast becoming irrelevant because that Ravager of the Fells is already too big.
The Ravager's too big, so it's really just going to kill a Wolf token, and that's not a good trade-off at all.
Not at all, no. We've frozen again.
That's becoming an issue. Right, we'll sort it out.
So that's a block and a Searing Spear, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a Mortars on the Reckoner, which targeted the Ravager of the Fells. Was it an overloaded? It was an overloaded mortar, and then then she targeted the Ravager of the Fells with the 3 damage from the Reckoner, and then also finished off with a Searing Spear.
And Harry responds with his own Reckoner.
And he is hellbent now.
That is.
Hellbent meaning no cards in hand. It was the original Rakdos mechanic from Dissension.
Yes. So we've got 2 3/3s versus a clean board.
Indeed. However, we've got 3 cards in hand from Reva? 3 cards, one of which I believe is a Stomping Ground. Well, the Stomping Ground's not fantastic here, although it is the 3rd red for the Mortars. 4. Huntmaster.
Huntmaster.
I mean, at this point, Harry's winning because he's just got such a board advantage. I mean, the Township is so powerful.
Township on a Reckoner is scary.
Yeah, I mean, when you can get to the point where your Reckoners don't die in combat, they just shoot. So he's drawn what looks to be a land, just from the way he's played.
Yeah.
But it may well not be. So that attack just fantastic. I mean, if she...
And the best part is that the Ravager flip doesn't kill either creature.
Yeah, exactly. It just turns into a 4/4 and deals 2 damage. I mean, her blocks here are either double block the Reckoner, which means she takes 7, goes to 6, and her creatures die, or no blocks at all, at which point she takes the 6.
Yeah.
So we see a Call of the Conclave. There's the 2-drop.
There we go.
Which I think is very interesting there. He should probably have played that pre-combat so that he could pump his team.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have got him in for another 2 damage, but he might have wanted to bluff a trick. In that sort of situation, it really depends on...
That's a very good point.
Yes, he would first strike and kill them both.
He would first strike and kill them both before they even got to do anything. So
I've been doing this for about 15 minutes and I've already got it wrong.
It's all right.
So I would not have been winning this game if I was Reva.
In all fairness, she's not really either. At this particular stage in time, it's not looking great for her.
So she's passing the turn, flipping her Huntmaster, but end of turn,
the creatures are being really cares.
No, I think Harry's pretty much got this game locked up. We need a Miracle Bonfire, but even that may not be good.
It didn't happen, because that's why she's drawn past, I think. And therefore, I think it's probably going to go game 1 to Harry at this point. I'd imagine, 3 4/4 creatures.
She just has no good block.
One of which is a Reckoner. So and unless you can still in this instance you can double block and take out the Reckoner, but in which case you would lose.
No, I mean you don't
kill it.
You don't actually take it out anymore because the first strike, the Reckoner's now a 4/4.
Yeah, but the Ravager is a 4/4 now as well.
So the first strike kills.
Double block it.
Thing is, the Ravager, the Boros Reckoner.
Oh yeah, just kills the Ravager.
First strike kills the Ravager,
and then goes oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, that doesn't work either. So that's
just blocking to soak up some damage.
So that's
and we've got a Restoration Angel.
Bouncing the Ravager out of combat.
The buy a box Restoration Angel promo there.
Yeah. And
so basically this attack nets her a wolf token but loses her a life. No. Loses her 2 life.
2 life.
Because she's taking a hit for 5 from the wolf token.
So it's bought her a turn. She's got another chance to top deck Bonfire.
Is it possible to get them to use different?
Can we try and get it so to use different token creatures so we can point out which one's which?
But again, a Miracle Bonfire still.
A Miracle Bonfire still works.
No Miracle Bonfire.
No Miracle Bonfire and Scoops in the roast.
The Reckoner puts this matchup in a really interesting place where you get to a point where you just can't kill the Reckoner. And if it hits you, die. Because they're not playing any removal that actually kills it that isn't damage based.
Yeah.
Especially in the main deck. So now we're going to see people sideboard. It'd be interesting to perhaps have a chat with them about their sideboarding.
Yeah, I mean, we beforehand we sat there and went. We sat there and went how we thought Harry's sideboard was possibly slightly stronger after the first round. So we've now got that instance where he's 1 game up and he has the potentially deadlier sideboard.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Angel of Serenities are going to be really big game. So I think what we're going to see is we're definitely going to see Angel of Serenities. We probably see Selesnya Charm. Even if that's just to kill things that are Wolf Runned and perhaps Thragtusk and perhaps her own Angels. It'd be interesting to see if we see Boros Charm because you get a lot of attacks that people think will end in trading.
Yeah.
If the attacks are going to end in a lot of trading and you have the Charm, it almost functions as a Plague Wind, Mizian Mortars effect. So I think what we're going to see from Reva is her bring in the Garruk and the Sigardas, possibly her own Charms and Zealous Conscripts. Both types of charms, Selesnya and Boros.
Yeah.
And I think from Harry we're going to see Selesnya charms and Angels and probably Boros charms.
Yeah.
I imagine having seen Bonfire, he's going to board out some of his accelerants. However, if he's boarding into the Angel, he may well be loath to do that. So very difficult. It's quite a difficult matchup to sideboard in because all of your cards feel relevant.
The Bonfires are really sort of something that you might want to watch out for because it wiped the field for him against him.
Exactly.
Quite early on.
Interesting to see that in the aggro mid-range sort of matchup, the Miracle Bonfire wasn't actually enough.
No, I mean it got to the point once the Gavney started getting going that the Bonfire came really redundant, even if it was the top deck Miracle, especially when you've got a Reckoner on the field, because that really just turns Bonfire into like a double-edged kind of thing where you take it out, but you're going to take a ton of damage with it.
Yeah, definitely.
And so the Miracle was too early. It wasn't for the time it was done, but obviously it would have been useful a lot later on as well. She needed the second one, in theory.
Yeah, I mean...
Because the ball position was bad to start with.
What you're saying, Stephen, is the Bonfire was really good when it happened. But like you're saying, what you're essentially saying, I imagine, is that you want to get a lot more value out of it. You don't want it to be a 2-for-1, a 2-for-2. You want it to be this 5-for-1 that means you get to attack with your 15 powers worth of men and just end the game. And they're the really back-breaking Bonfires.
Yeah, I mean the Bonfire that happened in game 1 was pretty much, it was a nice clean slate of
like a value Bonfire is probably what I would describe it as.
It was a sensible sized Bonfire, not a ridiculous one.
Yeah, exactly, Stephen. You really want the sort of grindy, everyone's stalled out. I've got a bunch of guys, you've got a bunch of guys, no profitable attacks. Oh, all your men are dead, and so are you.
Yeah, it just blows out, and it's really sort of a nice sort of opening for swinging away and causing a massive amount of damage. Because it really can just sort of turn an aggro deck into a standstill to a game win.
Definitely.
Off the miracle.
I mean, they're the really terrifying game states where you know that if one of you gets the bonfire, you just win or just lose.
I mean, I've had plenty of games where I've been like in really good advantageous sort of spots, and then we've got top deck bonfire, and you're like, what?
Looks like the players are discussing the last match a little bit, having a little bit of a joke. You can see the sort of hand gestures that mean sort of if this happened and then this happened, then this would have gone very differently.
It's really interesting to see when you see the people that are like at this sort of level, where they can almost play the game without having the cards on the table. They
definitely.
just sort of like can point and they work out where everything's
you sort of have the game set in your mind. It's when the cards become the text on them rather than the objects.
Yeah.
So when you mentally recreate game states, I mean, one of the things someone said to me was they saw a Japanese pro, I can't remember which. They were in a team draft at an event, and after the team draft, they weren't sure if their opponent, if their teammate had played correctly or not. So what he did was, his teammate went off. He got a pile of face-down cards, and he just put them in play, sort of. So these three are the creatures, these are my lands, this is my hand, this is my library, this is his, and just sat there and just moved them around, tapped some, untapped some, these sorts of things, all of which with face-down magic cards, so no text, and just mentally recreated the next turn of the game, just from that, and worked out, and then after about 20 minutes, stood up, walked over to his teammate and went, yeah, you're right, you couldn't have done anything differently, and walked away. And that's just incredible. I mean, they're the people, the real greats at the game.
That's really sort of impressive.
Okay, so we've
started off, Reva looks to have far-seeked
on turn 2.
Turn 2, so she's a nice bit of mana up. So hopefully she'll have a good 4-drop here by the looks.
I think we're just going to see another 3-drop here. Oh, nothing.
No, nothing.
That's interesting. I mean, that makes it look like she's going to have some of her Sigardas, her Garrux in this game.
Her big 5 costs.
Yeah, exactly.
So this should be the sort of make or break turn here by the sounds of things.
She's so far ahead on mana. I mean,
so
if we see
5 now.
If we see a dragon now,
that is
Sigarda, host of
Sigarda from there. That's a good play.
I mean, it's just there is nothing in Harry's deck that kills that creature.
No.
He can double block it perhaps with a couple of Restoration Angels or with a Angel of Serenity, but no spell just kills it.
Yeah.
So she's just gonna hit him for 5.
Keep going through. That's easily a very.
And she has a Wolf Friend out as well.
Yeah. This is gonna get out of hand.
That's a cheeky little attack for 8.
Yeah. View on main screen. So there's I don't think there's a great deal that Harry can do about this at this point.
Not at all. I mean,
so he's behind on mana.
So he's dead in 2 currently.
He hits the Huntmaster. So he's at least sort of putting the turn back a little bit.
I mean, she's still getting in an attack for. She's getting in an attack for 9, and then an attack for 9 or 10. So I don't actually know if Harry has anything in his deck that saves him now. A Thragtusk is probably what he needs. She's just gonna.
Well, that works.
Pretty interesting. Killing the Hamas there just so that there's no possibility that Harry can try and race.
So that's another 2 damage on top. So that's 7.
I believe so. Yeah. So bring him to 7.
He has to find a way to win this turn.
That play was very good because it means that he has to find an answer. And she's still got him dead. Yeah, I mean, her mana worked out beautifully there, so that it puts him to 7, and then another 7 works out.
It's really curved out fantastically for her in this game.
I think we might be about to see Harry pick his cards up.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you win game 2. That is.
that was Thragtusk or a chump blocking Restoration Angel or bust. So I mean, basically exactly what we were saying before the match. Reva accelerating into a 5-drop. And then just riding it to victory.
It's the getting the big plays faster, and then knowing that in this matchup, in the mirror match, there's very little that he has that can answer it.
Yeah.
So the flyers are going to be the big key thing.
Definitely, yes.
I can't, and depending on how Harry sideboarded, will depend on how well he can answer it. Cause
definitely.
His only answers are if he puts in Serenities.
Yeah, I mean Serenity to block it, and that's just a trade if she has the Wolf Run. I mean, what we may see is sort of a game where with a Thrag Tusk and a Restoration Angel, he can just sort of race, which would be very interesting. What is great about this game is we've really seen the power of the lands. So in game 1, Township did real work for Harry, and in game 2, Wolfrun did real work for Reva. So it'd be very interesting to see if they play a key role in the last game.
It's nice to see that both of their choices have been shown that they're good choices.
It's been a really nice match to watch and a very informative one, because we've really seen the things we were discussing in the way the matchup can go. So game 1, we saw what I was discussing with you about how if they just draw the same sort of creatures but one draws better, they'll get ahead. I mean, 3 Huntmasters from Harry was a lot of them. That's 2 Reckoners.
That's painful.
Exactly.
So it was nice to see how both of their unique choices have come into effect for both.
I mean, Harry traded off his Smiter for her Reckoner very early, and then his Reckoners managed to get him in the game and get him really far ahead. Very interesting to see if that was deliberate and a very conscious choice, or if it was just, I'll trade this for this.
Yeah. It might have been just a case of trying to keep the board position good until his Huntmasters, whether they were in the field or not, on the hand or not, could just start hitting the field and sort of go from there.
So we've got Harry on the play, and he looks to be thinking about his hand quite a lot.
Well, this is likely, but this has gone to game 3 in a match that both have to win to get to essentially top 8, or have the chance to top 8.
Exactly.
So they both have to win. So the keeping of this hand is massively important.
Precisely.
If you keep the wrong hand, or you go on it just on the case of, I might draw into the exact card I need.
You get a lot of players in this situation really sort of, they keep a loose one because they think, if I get there, I just win.
Yeah.
Like, they look for the just win rather than the not just lose. And a really good thing on mulliganing, for anyone listening who's interested, is look at your hand and think of 2 things. Think of, what's the plan? Look at the hand and go, what do I do on turn 1, 2, 3, 4? Where am I going? How does this win me the game? And secondly, think, how many things and how specific do those things need to be for this hand to become good? And you want a hand that has a plan, not one that needs to grow into one.
Yeah. So I think he's still...
Reva doing the very smart thing, which is, when they're thinking, look, put it down, sit back, and wait for your opponent to tear their hair out. I mean, we're coming up to the sort of amount of time now where Harry really needs to be making a decision.
And
he's agonising, isn't he?
It is a make or break decision at this point, and it's on the line, isn't it?
That's a keep.
Yeah, he kept it. So we'll see if it works out for him.
So
Reva at that point was already gone, I'm keeping this.
So we've got 11 one-drop accelerants in this game, and we have seen none of them
whatsoever.
So there's the Call of the Conclave. So again, showing what we were talking about.
Yeah, it's sort of a turn 2, 3 creature is a
He wants to get in there. He wants to start beating down. I think the best thing to see here is a Farseek.
He's going to Farseek. Oh no, he's going to spin.
Just kill it.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, she just doesn't want to die early. She thinks she has the better late game because she almost certainly doesn't know about the Angels.
She has a good late game, and that is the Reckoner.
Yep.
So Reckoner comes down. So this probably will be land Farseek if it's an ideal hand in this situation. Or
so she has brought in the Boros charms.
She has put the charms
Very
in.
Interesting.
So it'll be interesting to see what she does this turn.
Thing is, she ideally wants a bit of removal to kill that Reckoner while she doesn't have a creature in play. So she may well be lamenting that she burnt that spear so early.
I mean, taking the 3 from essentially the Tusk hitting.
And we see her own Reckoner. She really wants to be just trading those off, I think.
Yeah, that's just going to be a case of both hitting through. Because no matter what the situation is, they'll both die.
Being on the draw in this matchup, when they both get relatively slow starts, is really big, because especially when Harry, without accelerants, wants to be casting a 7-drop.
Yeah.
I mean, just having that extra card is so big in that. Yeah, there's just
the Reckoners are going to trade off each other.
I mean,
they're just going to...
The thing is that if Harry had had a Boros charm, that would have been a bit of a nightmare. And it's interesting that it implies a lot about Reva's hand that she didn't wait a turn to use hers to good effect.
Yeah.
Because if she had another creature, and you just get a lot of value. So, oh wow, Harry stuck on 3 lands.
That's not good.
No, not
That's
at all.
Possibly what he was thinking about when he was looking at his opening hand.
And we can see at the front of his hand that he has the Angel, so exactly what we were just discussing.
Yeah.
He's just going to start on. Although, saying that, she hasn't immediately dropped a land, so we might see a slow start.
She's going to Farseek, so she's got the 4th land.
She's got the 4th, at least. I mean, if she now goes tap land go, she's so far ahead.
Yeah.
Because we could well see another game where just a Thundermaw Hellkite, or
another big Gribbly comes in.
Just a flyer, 5 toughness flyer. Just ignore those Mizian Moors.
Oh, there's the land as well. She's on the magic number.
Yeah, she's doing it.
She's got 5, and that's
she's played this game before.
Yeah. That is a very solid position to be in, and the weenie hits the field a little bit late, I think, in this sort of situation. Yes, you finally just realised game 3 of this round that it's Matt Live.
I am.
It's not like it's been written down or anything on the screen for the whole time.
Spent enough time criticising Neil Rigby on his stream. I thought I would come over here and watch some different Magic.
So we'll see what Reva hits with.
Just another 3-drop. It
might be a smiter.
I mean, Harry's just drawn his. Just drawn that Pilgrim. There's no way he doesn't cast it last turn. And so it's very easy to see what he's drawing.
She's got the Boris Charm in hand if need be.
Exactly.
So
there's a Huntmaster.
Huntmaster comes through.
I mean, now that he's at 4 mana, he may well be able to get back into this game.
Yeah, this is sort of stabilised to a sense, unless Reva this turn plays something big like a big flyer, essentially like Sigarda or a Hellkite.
And to Mana Leak, that's because I've actually grown up a lot in the 10 years I've been playing Magic. So it's deeper, slower, and filled with more wisdom and intelligence.
Well put. And of course she's got 7 mana open, so even if she dropped like a Thundermaw or something, she's got the Boris Charm to make it indestructible if need be.
But she can save things. Is that a Sigarda at the front of her hand that she's just drawn?
I think it is. That's got to be the thing that's coming down, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Something big is coming, and
it's a bonfire for 2.
Bonfire for 2, which wipes the field and leaves Loxodon wide open for a smash.
See, this is what we were talking about. The bonfire killing the mana elves.
That's the thing. Farseek has that ability of you can't stop it unless you counter it. You will always have that land in play.
Yep.
Whereas weenies, you have to keep them on the field.
Exactly. I mean, bonfire is just such a trump in this matchup.
Yeah.
Especially because it just means he can never get to Angel. So he's just going to mortise that, and he will not be happy with that.
It's getting Boris Charmed.
It's got Boris Charmed. I mean, thing is though, that leaves Reva with no cards.
But Loxodon, she's got 1 card, 2 cards in hand.
Does she?
Yeah, 2 cards in hand. Harry is still stuck on 3 land.
Yeah, definitely.
And something else is hitting the field. It is Sigarda.
Sigarda. I mean, so there's no way that Harry can get back.
You have an answer with your 3 land. Well, that's smiter
just a smiter to trade. But the thing is now we know there's nothing in Harry's deck that gets him back into this game through that Sigarda. So we can actually.
The Sigarda will just go for 5.
He should actually just be conceding right now.
A Boris Charm does it, and Searing Spear does it just as much, and there we go. Reva wins and goes 6-1.
6-1. So depending on her loss and her tiebreakers, this is 8 rounds, isn't it?
Yeah, 8 rounds.
So she may well just be able to ID in.
Yeah. And Harry, unfortunately, is probably by this point out of contention now. By losing that.
Harry's dead, which is it's always sad to lose at this point, especially if the breakers were good, because this was almost winning into top 8.
Yeah. And that's really sort of once you get this far in, and you stumble right at the end.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just you can see he's not overly happy about it, but
yeah, I mean the thing is in game 3, it'd be interesting to ask him what his hand was, because he obviously agonised over it a lot. It looked reasonable on turns 1 to 3, but it just didn't get there.
I think he was holding out for some land or something like that, because he seemed to have he was playing. He had a good hand up until that point, and then he sort of stumbled on his placing of lands.
He went to 3 lands. He made a 3/3 on turn 2. You can't really fault that draw.
It was a good play till that point, and it just stopped. Whereas Reva's kept going. And Sigarda will win out against like a Loxodon Smiter.
It's always very nice to see players' decisions in deck building being rewarded. So exactly what we said was good about Reva's deck and why she was favoured in the matchup came out.
Yeah. And it was good to see that the choices they'd made, and you could see her choices really gave her the win at the end of that. Her picks of having the Farseeks over the weenie mana generators and having the Sigardas and the big flyers.
Definitely.
Gave her the edge in that game and eventually won it for her.
Yeah, at Manalik and Stephen, definitely. I remember playing Harry probably at some point in the last year or 2, and the fact that he's playing this well at this level now is an incredible improvement, and it's a real. He's obviously doing really well, and it's really nice to see, like you say, someone that nice. I mean, every time I played him, he's been lovely.
Reva.
Whereabouts is Harry based? Do we know? Anyone in the
Harry
stream? Yeah. As in, where's he from in the country? What's his play group? Presumably, someone in the stream will know.
Stafford.
Stafford. That could well be true.
That's probably a good shout, to be fair. Birmingham, Stafford. That's where I'm going to be moving to fairly recently. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be moving to Birmingham.
Okay, are we going to be getting one of the guys in? Would you like me to duck out?
I think we're going to get Reva in to have a chat about her deck and how it went and stuff like that. So,
okay.
When she gets there, Matt Light's going to be heading off. So thank you very much for coming in and giving us your massively more advanced sight of the game than I have.
Sorry, happy to be here.
It was good. It was good fun. You really sort of. It was good fun, and
I mean, it'd be interesting to ask her how she sideboarded. Specifically, what she boarded out is very interesting because I imagine she boarded out her pilgrims because they're just not very good in the matchup. I mean, they die to Huntmaster flips, and that's just a nightmare. You don't be throwing away cards like that. And to see if the games went how she expected them to, and where she felt game one went right and went wrong.
That's a good question. Where's the best place to live in the UK for playing Magic these days?
It's a very interesting question. I mean, it depends what
Manchester, obviously.
It depends what you want from your community and what you want there. I mean, if you just want to be playing Magic at F&M, it's very, very different to if you want a good core group of high-level players. So if you could, Dan, say which of those you want, I mean, I'm sure I could give you an opinion, which I will do my very best not to be biased on.
That's a good point. Right, so we've got...
I'll duck out.
Yeah, so Matt Light will be going off for a second. We're going to have Reva come in. So, Reva, 6-1. It's a good record to be on after round 7. That's good. You've still got top 8 sort of chances. Ooh. Yeah, we should be good. Should be good. So, what was it like playing almost the mirror matchup? Because your decks were very similar in sort of the green, white, red. Really weird.
Especially with the Boros interactions, it was just
we were interested to what was it you sideboarded in with regards to your sort of sideboard? What did you sort of?
Double Selesnya Charm and Boros Charm. The game 1, the Garbett Township only.
Yeah, we did see that. Because we saw when we were looking through your decks, because the similarities are obviously quite there, but the things that stood out as differently is that you ran the Wolfrun side of things, and he ran the Township side of things. But it was nice seeing how both actually worked as well as they did, and it was really quite impressive. So, Sigarda sort of won this for you, or did a lot of the legwork. Sigarda Wolfrun was pretty much sort of your kind of staple for winning your two games. What sort of were your sort of reasonings for putting them in the first place, as opposed to sort of keeping it sort of like the Serenities and things?
This is the first deck that I've had Sigarda in, and I figured it's about time. Just the evasion, like I can probably take care of Serenity. That's enough.
I mean,
the only deck I did lose to it was because of Serenity.
Was that so? What was the deck that you lost to?
It was the Bant one that was in the feature match 2 in a row.
Oh, the guy. Oh, him. Yes.
Yeah.
We had him a couple of times. So barring that, I assume your day's gone pretty well. To be fair with your deck.
Yeah, I built this on Thursday.
Thursday. Oh, so a well-planned deck that had a lot of time to test then,
Before this it was land destruction because I decided to hate everything.
Land destruction in standard.
Yeah, it was just Naya land destruction.
That's a cruel thing to play.
Would demolish. Actually.
Ah.
It went 2-2 at F&M, it seems fine.
Ah. I love seeing people run land destruction in standard because it draws so much anger and hatred from people because they sit there and go, really? And you're like, yeah, that's where we're going with this, and then they just fall to bits. So is Bant really your only bad matchup that you found, or have you really sort of had to struggle through some particular deck types?
I played Dagger. I expected to do worse against Jund, but I didn't. So that seems fine. I think the amount of burn I've gotten, I could just sit back and let Master just do whatever and have a hand.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm used to not doing that, so it's just weird. Like, oh, I have options. What am I doing?
Have you found that throughout some of the day you've made some mistakes that you've gone, oh, that's so bad?
Yeah.
What's been your sort of biggest mistake, you think?
In the only one I lost, Boris Reckoner. Is Boris Reckoner clearly very good, but I'm doing
in fairness, when I first played, earlier in the year I was playing Jund and I was trying to play Olivia Voldaren, and I was playing her so wrong for such a long time going. People keep saying this is a good card. I just don't see what the thing is. Then he just pings creatures for a bit. I don't know what this whole thing is. And then someone went, right, this is how you play it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can see why that's a good card now. So.
It's my most hated card for a while, and now I'm running Servant Spears and it doesn't even. It's weird. It's weird to not actually have to worry about it when it appears.
With your deck, you decided to go with predominantly like Farseeks over having like the weenies. You still have Pilgrims, but you went predominantly with Farseeks and stuff. Do you think that's been a better sort of choice out of the long run between the two?
It takes a whole land out, so then more stuff is good because I don't have any way of drawing through stuff apart from the Garuk in the sideboard, which I don't think I've actually sideboarded.
Nice. That's what you like to see. It seems like I mean, where did you get the idea to run the Naya deck from?
I just like green stuff. I have problems not running green.
It's just green. I like green. We'll put some colours with green and make it work. Is that essentially how it's?
I used to run green-white Seance deck.
Seance decks.
Yeah,
so what we're trying to, so what we're saying is, so you've
terrible decks and
so you've
make people
so you played green-white Seance and land destruction, and then gone, I'll fancy a bit of a change, and then I'll go 7-1 in my first PTQ. Nearly 7-1, or 6-1, potentially 7-1, potentially top 8ing, potentially top 8ing in your first PTQ.
Yeah.
That is,
not my first PTQ.
or first,
It's like
third.
I've been to a few in Manchester, but
right.
I was trying to win.
I was there for the giggles. But no, it was really good watching the dynamicness between the two decks, and your decks. Game 2, you see, your curve was just pretty much perfect. And it was pretty much like turn 1, turn 3, Sagada. Yeah, you've not got an answer for it, and I'll just bosh. that was the best one. It's like turn 1 watching the bonfire. just like we were sitting there going, you know what would really suck for Harry at this point? If she top decks a bonfire. Oh look, it's a bonfire. Wipe the field. People hated you. They were like, bonfire, what?
I didn't.
What? It's not one me.
Just want to win.
It's fine. We were just sort of laughing about the whole thing.
It was clearly very low because I kept it.
We were sort of saying,
yes, this is okay.
it was the deck seemed to sort of work really sort of well, so we think it has a solid shot.
Well to taking sort of iffy hands.
Sort of iffy hands.
Just gonna grind something it can't play, or like if it's got burn in it, I'm probably just gonna keep it.
Fair enough. So are you confident about game 8?
It's like I don't want to face Dagger.
You don't want to face Dagger. Dagger's your big sort of worry, is it?
Yeah, because I've not played against it and I've not play tested for it. So
we saw a Dagger deck earlier. It's an interesting one.
I've seen a few of them.
There's a couple dotted. There's definitely a few dotted around the field, and they're quite all high up. So your odds of playing one. Then they might all ID. You might not have to play them. You might all just ID themselves. Make sure you check.
If I win and then top 8, I'm gonna have to see it anyway.
Yeah. See, there you go. See, that's all you got to worry about. So, well, thank you for coming in and chatting to us about it. We wish you good luck in your last game, and hopefully you'll make top 8, and then we can say, look, they came on ours and they top 8'd. See, that's what we like to see. So, good luck.
Thank you.
Right, so that's round 7 of 8 for Swiss. We'll go for a quick break, and then we come back. We'll have the last round of Swiss, and then we'll be cutting to top 8 afterwards. So we'll see you all in a bit.